Hey yo, Young Justice suck now. Like seriously. I liked Young Justice. I really did. The first season was okay. Second season, I thought the direction in which they were going by adding new characters, but like kind of shelving the old ones and then changing the dynamic how everything was because it was all like, for the mission. So like Aqualad was evil, but it turns out this was a plan made up by Aqualad, Artemis, and Dick. Dick, but Nightwing, and it was all coincided with everything that was going on, and I was like, yeah, for the most part, that was okay. The thing is that Young Justice kind of went the route of stupid, and it's something that DC does with these characters all the time, which is that it kind of forgets the whole reasoning behind the Young Justice group or the Teen Titans group, which is like their issues and the things that they face are supposed to be considered minuscule in comparison to like the Justice League and whatnot. Yes, they meet up and team up and whatnot because they are those characters' sidekicks, duh. But at the same time, like think of like Teen Titans. In Teen Titans, we knew Batman existed, but everything the Teen Titans did not involve or needed Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman, any of those characters to show up because that's it. There's those aren't their problems. Slade and whatnot doing things is not. It's not Batman's issue. Slade is literally a character that just got a vendetta against these kids. So, and then the concept of Terra, Jericho, and things like that, that's their problem. Those are their problems. And that's honestly the thing that makes those characters endearing when you got them in a team like that, is because you don't got the overshadowed Justice League or these other great, well established superheroes kind of undermining the fact that these kids, who themselves on their own ain't shit compared to these people, when put into a group, they got their own shit to deal with. So it's like, hey, it's not as big as a threat as Superman fighting Lex Luthor or a Doomsday type threat or anything like that. But it's like it's a nice little mellow. Hey, you got your own shit going on. These characters are dealing with this type of villain that would be a threat to these characters, and then that allows you to see more versatile action of these villains that to other greater heroes would be insignificant. And it's supposed to be a nice little romp for everybody. Then like the kids themselves, they're prepubescent teens. They got their own hormonal BS going on. You stick a bunch of teenagers, hormonal teenagers, in a building together, and shit's gonna happen. So one of the things is like Young Justice, when they had that in the beginning, it was doing fine. And I honestly believe like the first season was the best iteration of everything they had going on. This team was established and made up to be a team that handles missions that the Justice League seems insignificant. They're well trained, well established characters themselves that know how to do their own thing, and then it just kind of got them in a group. And all they really need to do for the second season was to just build on that. Just add a couple more people, which they started to do at the end of the first season. Start adding more characters, start seeing more growth and development. Don't have this overarching, constant bad guy plot thing going on, which is what they continue to do. And it's one of the things that made season 3 kind of stupid at the end of everything. Because it's kind of that it's the tale the oldest time type bullshit that DC has going on with them. Marvel lacks this greatly, and it's one of the things that I actually commend Marvel for doing because they're able to literally jump from villain to villain and versatile to actual threat. One of the things that I love about Spider-Man is that whatever Doc Ock had planned going on in Spider-Man would stop. His life didn't stop, but at the same time, then there'd be another evil threat with Green Goblin, and it added on to the build of like this man got a great power comes great responsibility type thing like that. But there was no you stop Doc Ock, but at the same time, Doc Ock was doing something all under the guise of Doctor Doom, who then sends out Green Goblin, who again is distracting Spider-Man from Doctor Doom's overall evil plan that you're not gonna probably see unless the show gets like a fifth or sixth season. But that's only there to usher in the need to have people go, well, what was the whole main bad guy plan? More seasons, please. You see how that's stupid, and honestly, it's just really really dumb, and it goes nowhere. It's like take it like look at a Spectacular Spider-Man. That show that's the best Spider-Man cartoon ever To me, that's my favorite. The Spider-Man the animated series is second. It's close second, and that's only because I grew up watching that. But Spectacular Spider-Man handled Spider-Man perfectly to me, and it just the threat, the way how they went about doing certain things and going from situation to situation, it wasn't no grandiose overarching scheme that this bad guy was having that just kept the heroes in the shadows, and it was like there's nothing I could do about it. And that's what Young Justice had, which was incredibly annoying and incredibly stupid. Bringing up the Light, which were basically a group of villains on Justice League status, but their importance and the things that they got going on is being delved and brought about into Young Justice character stuff, and that's stupid. Especially considering that the first season kind of ends with the Young Justice characters kind of having to defeat the Justice League characters because they got taken over, or no, that was season two. Yeah, because they got taken over and they didn't realize that they were all being manipulated and everything, and it's like, well, that happened, and it's like, yeah, I can see that being an actual bad concept or whatever. But season three literally did the exact same thing with Granny Goodness, and and it was just basically so like, is there no other ideas? Did you not read any of the books? Is there no other villains that would be a threat or that you could see would actually make an impact to these characters that doesn't include bringing in Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman? It's like you don't need those characters to allow these characters to flourish. But for some reason, Young Justice got this concrete idea that yes, you do. You definitely need that. And then that only makes it worse because they water down all the other characters to make insignificant ones seem greater than they actually are. Dick, Tim, Batman, anyone that's a part of the Bat family is basically watered down in this series so they can't outshine everyone else. But the whole concept behind those characters is that they're literally humans demanding the attention and commanding gods. So with that, they have to stand out. There has to be something about them that's different from everyone else. Because in almost every iteration, when there's someone from the Bat family a part of Young Justice, Teen Titans, or whatever, the motherfuckers are the leaders. So what? So you undermining that by having stupid beyond by just stupid upon stupid iterations to just undermine that whole concept in order to make it seem like there's an emotional thing going on or they're having difficulties coping with the role that they inevitably have to give. It's just stupid, especially considering that you've done it before. This has already been done and established in season one of Young Justice when Aqualad took over as leader because Robin just didn't know how to lead yet. So then when they brought up on season two that he is now the leader, then for you to just try to get rid of that so it could be that, he's now dealing with the death of Wally and he just, oh, I don't want to be in the team no more. I don't want to be a leader. I'm having fever dreams because my friend died. A guy whose literal superhero origin comes from the concept of grief just really is dumb. His parents got killed in front of him, and the man went out and started just beating criminals in order to find out who killed his parents. And that's just a origin for Robin. I know they kind of, this is another DC thing that they do, is just they kind of wishy-washy on how origins actually take place and whatnot. But then again, all comic book stories do that because they can. Nothing is linear with them, and it's another gay aspect that they have. And DC does it to ridiculous extents to where they just kind of just no longer make an origin even recognizable for what the character is supposed to be or what they're supposed to represent. So having that and having him just ball out, oh my god, I can't comprehend anything because Wally's dead. It's just incredibly stupid, and it undermined and just lowered the significance of Dick Grayson's character. And I couldn't stand watching him. And it's like every time he appeared in the scene and then he just kept crying about that, it was like, what is this? And then you have a moment near the end of the series where freaking Superboy, sits there and talks down to him as a sense of, I'm not someone who could be a leader. You know that you're supposed to be the leader. All you need to figure out is what type of leader you want to be. And it had this earth-shattering, like, tone to Dick Grayson. And it's like, what is this? Why are you doing this? Why is it all of a sudden now that Superboy is now a stable human being? When one of the main things about him is that he's not a stable human being. He's a freaking clone of Lex Luthor and Superman. So just all of these aspects that just demeaned and undermined a whole bunch of characters that was just ridiculous. Having Beast Boy for some reason grow a pair, and all of a sudden now he's a certified leader who could just tell everybody, "You guys don't know what's best for us. We know what's best for us." And it's like, oh my god, no, take a page from Teen Titans. There's a reason people really like Teen Titans. And yes, it got canceled, but there's a reason people like it so much to the point where they still complain about it when Teen Titans Go was actually ran longer and had more successful episodes. Teen Titans Go got a movie. Teen Titans had a TV movie. Teen Titans Go was more successful than Teen Titans. Like, that's just a fact. But at the same time, Teen Titans did amazing with the actual stories from the Teen Titans comic, considering that they didn't use the original group of characters from the Teen Titans that like started off everything, but at the same time just dabbled and handled subject matter in a fantastic way to where when their overarching stories connected and the seasons ended, it wasn't something where it was like, oh, we definitely need to incorporate this with like the Justice League or anything like that. No, even the fact that they had Trigun show up and the dude basically turned everyone into stone and he was ruling Earth, and that's something that they had to beat. And then at the end, like there was a, and then like the next season after that, the Brain took over all the young heroes and basically had his own Grandmaster plan going on. The shit was good, and then that was the thing I was getting to with Beast Boy. That concept of basically the Brain not taking him as well as other characters that apparently he felt were insignificant. Beast Boy making a ragtag group of heroes, them clumsily being able to save the day. And it was like, it wasn't like it was a for sure fire. He had a full scale plan. He knew everything that he was doing. No, he just knew he had to step up, be a hero, and take charge. And then he did that. And then in the end, he saved everybody. And it's like, yes, that's something Beast Boy would do, and that's something you would like to see. But on Young Justice, having him be this icon in TV and movies, and him just establishing and being like, yeah, I'm a superstar and whatnot, and then just all of a sudden going, you know what, I'm not living by anybody's rules, as if this rebellious crap is something someone would want to see. And all that did was try to shift the concept of exactly who are the young Justice that we're supposed to be watching in the series. And they did this in season 2, and they did it again in season 3. In season 3, when they started establishing and calling themselves the Outsiders, that basically made them the Young Justice. All those kids that they tried to give significance to are the ones who became Young Justice. And that's incredibly stupid. And in season 2, they did the same thing by introducing a brand new group of characters who Dick Grayson was in charge of, and having them go on missions, but at the same time having their own issues that they were all dealing with because there was so much infighting within the group, and no one really trusted anybody. Some people quit. They had the Kid Flash quit, and stuff like that. And so it was just whoever is supposed to be whoever is a focus that's just a younger generation of the previous, or who of they're just supposed to be the youngest current generation. That's who the Young Justice story is supposed to revolve around. And that's exactly what they did. And honestly, it was shit. It honestly it was really shitty. Um, kudos to them actually having Cyborg being introduced to these characters, but lo and behold, it took them 3 fucking seasons to do that, and then Cyborg was around when Dick Grayson was Robin. So again, just a missed opportunity, but I'm pretty sure that's something DC had their hands in because they forever want him to be the black guy that's a part of the Justice League, rather than making, um, rather than like making Hal Jordan not the Green Lantern that's established in the Justice League. When in the Justice League cartoon, it was perfect and fine and everyone loved it. But for some reason, when it comes to movies and everything, and like now all the new animated stuff, and it's like, well, if we're gonna have a black guy, we should just make it Cyborg. But if we want, anything else, but it's like Green Lantern has to be Hal Jordan, has to be the white guy, because that's what everyone really, really wants. Just fucking idiots. Just DC is so stupid sometimes. It, it was incredibly annoying watching this. Them introducing new characters, Geoforce, Halo, um, the Bug Guy, and then them just horrendously bringing up Terra. I thought it was cool when they introduced Terra, and it was like the twist that was Terra. I thought that was cool. I actually liked it. I enjoyed that. But how they handled her character was disgusting. Terra is such an impactful and important character to the growth and the development of the Teen Titans. It's unbelievable how much of a significance she is. You you don't really. I honestly urge anyone to go back and read the old comic when they had Tara to just get an understanding of how crazy she was. Because that's something I did. And this is after I've seen Tara on Teen Titans. And then in comparison, Teen Titans handled Tara in the softest and gentlest of ways, but they still handled her correctly. Tara was working for Slade. She betrayed everybody. Her power went out of control, and then she died. And that's literally what happens to Tara in the old comic books. But in the comic books, Tara's personality is what drives everything. I hit my hand on my desk and it hurts. But Tara's personality is the driving force behind everything. And then her reasoning behind what she did before her powers went out of whack and she died is what solidified her importance in the Teen Titans mythos. Tara was someone who joined up with them, basically was a sleeper agent. For the longest, she was just a part of the Teen Titans. You just thought she was a regular, another superhero that joined up with them that had abilities and whatnot, much like with Beast Boy, Cyborg, and everyone else. Just another person, part of the group, a teenage superhero that's helping them fight. Come to find out, she was working for Slade, and then in the apex of finding out she was working for Slade, she actually was sleeping with Slade, and at the same time wanted to destroy the Teen Titans, not because she was just someone that Slade had her under her thumb or whatnot. She literally hated them for the simple fact that they were good. That's it. They were goody two shoes. She just did not like the concept and the understanding of being a superhero, having the powers that they had, and not wanting to do bad or not wanting to get whatever they want, but to just being self-righteous and feeling like, yes, we can save the day, or having all this hope and whatnot, made her generally hate them. and then after everything that went down, her powers went out of whack. She died, and the emotional pull from Tara basically being the ultimate failure of the group of the Teen Titans. It was someone they couldn't reach, someone who generally they could not help. It's someone that just blatantly hated them for being the heroes that they wanted to be. And they had to they needed that. That was something that when it happened, it was a damn. Like, what? So then it was just a significant moment for them where it was like, you can't save everybody. There's gonna be times you lose the fight. This shit is real. And it's like, some of you need to step up and understand, like, this isn't just a plaything. And it was such an impactful moment to the Teen Titans. And so then when they introduced Tara in Young Justice, and her moment was, you gotta kill Beast Boy. And she was about to do it. And then it was just, Tara, you don't gotta listen to Deathstroke. I don't. And then that was it. There was no emotional struggle. There was no importance of her character development. They just had her just go, nah. But then Tara willingly was following Deathstroke's plan, killing people, sabotaging a lot of their plans and whatnot. And it was just swept under the rug. There was no repercussions behind what she did. And just to try to have a twist to where her brother that they made up, and it was dumb, was someone who was like, oh, he killed somebody. That's crossing the line. It's not. It really isn't. As far as DC is concerned, it's not crossing the line at all. Because it's like, what he did made absolute sense when he mentioned it. That was a war criminal. He killed, who usurped the throne, killed his parents, and much like the rest of them, if you had a chance to get vengeance upon someone who did you dirty, you would take it, because a lot of those heroes do that. That's why they have the alternative stories where if they did start killing people, then what they would do with their powers. So it's not like it's something that they don't do. Because like I said, there's alternative stories where they do kill the people who, did them wrong or something like that. Or there happened to be a moment where they accidentally killed someone. And it's a thing that they have to, overcome. And it's like, it was necessary. It was a moment that needed to be done. Things like that. So for everyone to just sit there and judge him because he killed his uncle, who just basically everything that was going on in this season was the cause of everything. That's just really stupid. And then it ended with the bad guys not being stopped or anything like that, but the overarching threat was Apocalypse and Darkseid, and they didn't need to introduce that because that's not a Young Justice thing, that's a Justice League thing. Oh, hey, and then also having the light still be in control, them understanding and knowing that Lex Luthor and Deathstroke are working together, and then everyone else who's a part of the light and everything, and everyone in the Justice League just kind of voting that now Black Lightning is the leader, and that's how you end the season. And I'm supposed to feel good about this. I'm supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to think that the good guys won or be excited or anything like that. When all it did was just kind of leave you on the end with just a to be continued type crap. Like I hope we get another season just so we can try to end something, but there never will be an end because that's how DC operates. They'll just end the next season with more question mark type crap as to who was controlling who was manipulating who's now the new evil guy, who isn't the new evil guy, that type of bullshit. And they'll just keep going on and on with that because that's just bad storytelling. It's bad writing actually. And it's just adding brand new characters and brand new concepts that just make absolutely no sense. One of the best episodes to me, well, not episodes. They didn't have good episodes. They had good moments, and I thought those were actually really cool and endearing. The chick who basically invented or figured out a way that can alter people's cells to make metahumans or to be able to increase someone to help them, and then she felt so strongly of doing something like that was something that you, like, if your parents wanted to talk about, you could give your child the choice or whatever, but then when faced with the opportunity of doing it to her own daughter, or her own child, I don't know if it was a boy or girl, I can't remember, but when faced with the opportunity of doing it to her own child, without speaking to her husband about it at first, she did it simply because of the fact that it started weighing into her. What if there's a way that you can help improve them? What if you want them to be superior? What if, she might have a birth defect or a health defect that might come into play later on that if she had the meta gene would have been able to help her out? And when faced with that dilemma, she took matters into her own hand and then did that to her own child without speaking to her husband, and then feeling guilty about it afterwards, but at the same time, being kind of being a hypocrite towards how she was blatantly going against such actions in the beginning. And I thought that was fantastic. It humanized her character. And then you don't see her for the rest of the season. So that was stupid. They didn't do anything about that for the rest of the season. God damn it. Stupid. And then you had another moment where Beast Boy, basically, they had the animators from Teen Titans Go come in and explain his backstory. And I thought that was one of the funniest things ever. To literally have the Teen Titans Go characters voice act people from the Doom Patrol, and then basically explaining that they're gonna go off and die now without Beast Boy and leave him alone, and then just like, yeah, let's go die. We're gonna go die. I thought that was hilarious. That was fantastically hilarious. Another moment was when Dick Grayson was helping the clone of Red Arrow with his security business, and that was okay, except for the moments where he kept calling him Wally because he has red hair and Wally had red hair, and Dick Grayson is tripping over the fact that Wally died and he really, really, really needs a friend. Just stupid. And it's like characters who needed to get developed on, or characters that definitely needed to get a spotlight shown on them, but they couldn't do it because DC forever doesn't want Batman to shine in anything that's going on when he is the cornerstone with everything that is DC, and they just keep being stupid about it. So it was like, hey, we'll hype up Superman, but when it comes to Batman, we need to keep him at a steady pace. Otherwise, people will get overzealous with Batman, which has happened before, and then we won't be able to shine a light on other characters who actually have powers. Yes, it's a double-edged sword, and honestly, it's just bad how they do it because they handle Batman poorly. One of the things they did is that in the beginning of the series, they had Tim showcase that he was in a relationship with Wonder Girl, and then when Batman gave the goat signal, he had to leave because they had to go do what they had to go do in their little shadow organization. And it just would have been fantastic if they had Tim and her constantly meet up or have like interactions of him trying to explain to her that he wasn't trying to betray her or anything like that, but it's a part of the mission. That's how he was raised. It's what he needs to do. It's what he has to do. She needs to understand that. And then for her to either come to grips or to accept or neglect the fact that, this is true. This is how Tim was raised. I was raised to be a certain way. He was raised to be a certain way. I love him despite certain things about him, the same way he loves me despite certain things. He wasn't willingly trying to hide anything from me. It's just how they operate. And the sooner they establish or have character interactions like that with them, with like people in the Bat family like that, the better off they'll be. One of the things about Teen Titans is the fact that Robin openly was with Starfire, a character that they refused to implement in this series in order for Dick Grayson, for whatever reason, to be with Barbara. God, it's so dumb for him to be with Barbara. It's one of the stupidest things that could possibly happen. And it's one of those things where it's like situational wise, simply because she exists and she was a woman that was associated with Gotham and is a part of the Bat family. That means that someone in the Bat family has to date her. And I find that to be an incredibly dumb concept, but they forever keep doing that. In the Arkham City game, no, Arkham Knight. In the Arkham Knight game, they had that to where Tim was dating Barbara while she was in the wheelchair. And now on this one, you have Dick dating Barbara while she's in the wheelchair. And it's just such a dumb concept because it doesn't fit with these people. Dick and Barbara are two different types of people. Yes, they know each other. To have them have a well-established friendship would be perfect. But to have them be in this loving relationship, that's not real. It's not real. Simply because of the fact that that's the duality of Dick Grayson. You're not looking at his overall arching character. The fact that Dick Grayson has that innate darkness inside of him that compels him to almost be to become Batman, even though he doesn't want to be. He understands that that's a role that he could easily take if he needs to, but he doesn't want it. And that loner side of him keeps people at a distance. Dick Grayson is one of the biggest hoes in DC. Dude slept with damn near everybody that's a part of like Young Justice and the Teen Titans Squad and whatnot. What is it, like a ritual on his birthday? Everyone gives him a gift and a kiss that's like a girl, and it's like, what dude's a hoe. But it's like his mini Elysian relationships keeps people at a distance. And it's like, unlike Batman, who basically is just at a distance constantly, in a way for him to try and be different from Batman. I'm gonna try and get some type of relationship going on. But despite all that, he can't hold a relationship together because he's just like Batman. Which is one of the reasons why Batman doesn't have a relationship, because he can't hold on to one. One of his most stable relationships is with Catwoman, and that's a freaking thief. You see what I'm saying? So it's really, really dumb, really dumb to sit there and have these aspects of the jumble all this stuff together, where you basically got these kids and people together and just simply under the guise of, yeah, we only deal with superhero stuff, so only the superheroes should get together with other superheroes. And it's such a, I hate to say it, but that's a nerd way of thinking. It's so stupid that it's a nerd way of thinking, but it fucking is. It really is. And I can never stand when they do that and associate stuff like that, because it's like, oh, far be it from someone with superpowers to just want another normal, nice person to get some type of normalcy in his life or anything like that. Far be it from having characters who do think like that. Because by all means, you can have some characters who date within the group, date within the team, and they're together in their relationships and whatnot. You can have that. But at the same time, also know that you can have people who don't want that, who don't want to always be in the thick of it or constantly wearing their superhero outfit. And it's like, yes, they understand and have their powers, but that doesn't dictate and make up their life. Something that they started doing in season 2 when they had people openly just quit the superhero gig because there was nothing in it for them. They had a family they needed to provide and things like that. Fantastic. But DC is such a cop out, and they just get so sissified with certain things, and it's just so dumb. And this season just amplified all of it, and it just made it just whack. It was just whack. It's just a whack ass season. I did not like it. So many characters I would just introduce for no goddamn reason. The Halo bug and the G-Force dude. So many characters are just pushed to the back of everything, and it's just supposed to accept any type of development that they had established off screen, and then they got no further development on screen. So then it was like, who gave a damn? And then the cherry on top of just the most disgusting part of the whole Young Justice season 3 is that, again, they kept dealing with the Justice League inner workings, which was incredibly dumb, only because of the fact that certain characters from Young Justice were now part of the Justice League, when it could have just been established that they're now part of the Justice League. So what they're doing no longer matters with the Young Justice team, because they're not associated with them anymore. But couldn't do that. That'd be stupid. But to simply have Black Lightning, a nigga who literally did not appear in any previous series, but all of a sudden shows up, and now just all of a sudden doesn't like how the league is being run now. Just decides to quit, but then he's like, I'm being shelled in with everyone else because Batman got this whole coup thing going on. Well, not a coup, but basically this whole big old walkout thing going on, and I don't want nothing to be a part of it. And then you have him be one of the dumbest characters throughout the entire series. He got immediately seduced by this scientist chick who they turned out to be crazy, and then basically all he had is just been running off his own emotions, and it did nothing for anybody. Once he figured out that he was basically being played multiple times by multiple people, all he did at the end of it was just accept the fact that he just got played. There was no repercussion behind anything that he did, behind him figuring out anything for anyone. He never had no standoff against the science lady that was sleeping with him and using him so she can find out more things about Halo and Geoforce. He didn't do anything to Batman after Batman told him when he found out that Batman and them were basically all working together to try and trick and entrap the bad guys. And he just had to sit there and he basically had to sit back and take it. He had to take it. He got fucked and he just had to take it. And it was like, what is with this character? Why do we have this character? And then you end everything. The crescendo is to end everything with him becoming the new leader of the Justice League. Why would that be a consensus? Why is that the takeaway from this season? Is that this guy, this complete moron of a person, is the person that we will now be in charge of all these powerhouse monsters that can contend, that basically has this ridiculous power throughout the universe. Why would you do that? He he's a dude who had a failed marriage. He's obviously bad at picking relationships. He was seduced by a chick, and he gets overly emotional behind everything. He can't see the bigger picture. He can't tell the forest from the trees. He's someone who is inept in any type of decision that he makes, and honestly, he goes with the flow. He's great at critical thinking during a crisis, but at the same time, that doesn't give off or stimulate leader material. The only thing that we got behind that to showcasing that he had some type of leader material is the fact that Static Shock, someone who honestly they should have developed more. DC always keeps fucking up when it comes with Static Shock, but they had Static Shock be someone that he was mentoring because both of them deal with electrical abilities. What? But for some reason, this means that this dude is capable of commanding all of the Justice League. Something that, for whatever reason, they continue to not make Superman, which is just really, really ridiculous. And then also to make it to where it's like there has to be a set leader of the Justice League. One of the things about Justice League Unlimited and the Justice League series was when they introduced, well, in Justice League Unlimited, when they introduced that they had founding members. It was just that. There were founding members of the Justice League, but that didn't dictate that they were the ones that were in complete control of everything. Martian Manhunter was the guy that commanded and controlled and got teams to go to certain areas where they were needed, and at the same time was great at communication because he could process stuff like that. He was the guy who would sit in the watchtower and he wouldn't necessarily be on the field, but at the same time he could dictate and control where everyone was going, and that was fine. They also had other people working on the science division. They had humans in the watchtower who were working there, volunteering or were paid or whatever. It was fantastic. And like they still had Flash, who was a funny, goofy, fun-loving guy, not really someone that more so on the stable, commanding type of um he didn't really have no commanding status or like a team that he was in charge of or someone that everyone had to bow down or kowtow to because of the fact that he was a founding member. It was just the fact that he was a founding member. He himself had his own skills, his own abilities. He was known for what he could do, but he was still someone who went and fought on the front lines, but he was also a founding member. That was totally fine and justified, but they didn't have a one set leader who told everyone what to do. But for Young Justice to kind of just make this a thing where there would be one set leader to tell everyone what to do is stupid. It's just really stupid. Because that's the concept of Young Justice and the Teen Titans. They need a leader to tell them what to do. They're a bunch of prepubescent teens that have no idea what the hell they're doing. So there has to be someone to pull the reins in with them. They have to constantly be monitored by their people because they are sidekicks. They're always told what to do. They're the sidekicks. But for the Justice League, they're heroes who go about things on their own. If you need help or if I'm the best person for the job, by all means call me. But don't sit here and say that you're my boss. So it just really was dumb. And then especially to end it with Black Lightning asking Batman like, what do you say? And then Batman went, I don't have a vote. I'm not a part of the Justice League like that. I don't get a vote. And then he went, nah, no more of that Batman Incorporated stuff. It's either you in or you ain't. And then and then what I loved was that Batman didn't answer him. He just explained to him what his role was going to be and what's going to happen, whether he takes the job or not. And then Black Lightning had to just take it. He didn't, and then he was too stupid to realize that basically he didn't tell him what was going on. And I was like, yeah, Black Lightning's an idiot. So just dumb. And then he gave a rousing speech, which was basically, we're not gonna be like the bad guys. We're gonna be like our good guys, and we're just gonna be good. And if we go down being good, then so well. At least we went down being good. So no more sneaky stuff. It was just stupid. Just so stupid. Especially when Cyborg was able to hack the system of what the light was using, and why not tell everyone where they were located so they could go and find all the people of the light and just get them. But, oh no, that would be too much. Especially considering that Superman moves faster than anyone can see, he can grab everybody before anything would actually happen. No. Can't do that either. that would be silly. God, just dumb. As soon as they implement red tape into the DC world, then everything that they do becomes incredibly dumb and convoluted. And it's one of the drawbacks from DC. And as much as I actually praise DC for certain stuff that they do, with Marvel they had a better handle of that. When Marvel introduced red tape into what they got going on, they actually have a very finite and definite reason behind doing that, which is mutants. And the introduction of mutants into the Marvel's overall world set up a hell of a lot of far more better confrontations as well as discriminations behind characters and how the treatment of certain people are supposed to be handled. Much case in point, like how the Civil War comic started, rather than DC, which just establishes we have metahumans, and that's just anyone that has a superpower, and that's just blatantly it. And those people with superpowers can only have two different jobs. You either become a good guy or a bad guy. That's it. And the basis behind that is if you become a good guy and the good guys happen to become bad guys, who's going to stop the good guys? So we need more metahumans to stop the good guys in case the good guys want to be bad guys. But then you got bad guys who manipulate the good guys that were made to stop the other good guys. And that's just it. You only have the black and white. While with Marvel, there's a huge duality behind everything. People are born with mutant abilities, and it's not something where you can become a superhero just because you have mutant abilities. People who have mutant abilities are hated and they're discriminated against to the point where there's an apocalyptic future in which they're hunted down and mercilessly killed constantly. So to even have something like that while you also have superheroes running around that because they don't fit the criteria of being a mutant, they're just people with superpowers. It there's so much complex layers involved in that duality of the status of how are people are characterized that it's fantastic. You got someone like Spider-Man who's swinging around freely that basically just gets one bad newspaper and the entire city of New York will turn against him and call him murderer or the killer or whatnot, but he'll still go out every day trying to save people. And then the same person will meet the X-Men who will then think that he's one of those killers or whatnot because they read the newspaper or they see the news depicting him a certain way, not understanding who exactly he is, while at the same time they're being hated against for just existing. He's being hated against because of misinformation, and then they have to either reconcile their differences and then come together for a greater good, whether or not they trust each other or they don't trust each other. But at the same time, it's just at the end of the day, they are still supposed to be heroes, except X-Men aren't really heroes. But that type of duality with the characters does so much on an emotional and a fantastic written world and able to incorporate different emotions, different characters, different aspects of how this character meets up with this character talks to this character. Like how you got Wolverine, someone who fought in the war alongside of Captain America. He knows him personally. But at the same time, during this age in which mutants are being hunted down, Captain America could be on the side of the government saying, maybe mutants need to register. And then Wolverine could be someone like, hey, you know me. Do you really believe that this is something that would be good for mutant kind? And then Captain America now getting the different, different strokes for different folks. And now it's like, hey, he's right. Maybe we shouldn't do this. And now you got the government going up against Captain America, which is totally ridiculous because he is America. So you understand how there's so much complexity to be brought in by not just establishing that people with powers are either good or bad, while as in DC, that's all that they do. People with powers are either good or bad. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts behind it. There's no more complexity around anything like that. It's just they're either good or bad. And then you try to have characters who sit there and try to shell off or go, well, I don't want to be a person with powers. I don't want to be a freak. I don't want to do this. And then all it boils down to is just, are you going to become a superhero or not? And it's just like, are you going to use your powers or not? And if you're going to use your powers, you're either going to become a good guy or a bad guy. Period. While as with mutants and X-Men, that's just who they are and how they live. They have these abilities. They're not going away. They can't make them go away. But to go under any type of guise of whether or not what you're going to do with your abilities will determine exactly what type of freedoms and liberties that they're allowed to have as a regular person. DC does not have that complexity. And so because of that, it just is so whack whenever they try to introduce it as something that's a mandatory or important aspect, which they did in this season of Young Justice. And it just was just so just having little kids go, I don't want to be a freaker. I just want to put the control collar on so my powers don't go crazy. It's just, I don't care because there's no negative repercussion behind this in the world of DC. Just because you have abilities and you're capable of just locking them away permanently, or just locking them away, and then you just live your life as a regular person. There's no bad aspect of you being ousted as someone who has powers. It's just that you don't use your powers. That's it. That's the only negative repercussion in DC that they have for people like that. While in Marvel, if you're known for being a mutant, you're going to get hunted regardless of if you don't use your powers, if you seal up your powers or what have you. You're still going to be hunted. You're discriminated against. People outwardly hate you. They were literally created as a means of showcasing racism. So the concept of duality of that is far exceeding anything DC can do. So with that being the case, stop trying to do anything with it. You don't do anything outside of the realm of your characters in order to expand the fact that if they have abilities, they're either going to be good or bad. So with that being the case, stop trying to implement that there's more going on to this world with characters with powers than you have. Because you don't have anything else. There's nothing else to add on. There's no more that you can do. So stop trying to do things with it. Just take your established characters that you already do have and implement different things that they got going on, their social circles, their own personal problems that they have with their powers, how they're dealing with the abilities or their social life or anything that they got going on, rather than keep trying to add in more water to the Kool-Aid mix. Your Kool-Aid is not sweet anymore. So you keep forgetting to add in sugar and the actual thing that makes it Kool-Aid. Otherwise, you just got weird, dirty water. So I just, God, I went on a freaking tangent. I didn't want to, but I did because this season just pissed me off so much. I did not like how this ended because it wasn't enjoyable. The fact that it took me so long to finish it. Young Justice Season 3 has been over with for a long time, but it took me this long to finish it because I just got fed up with watching it and I didn't care anymore. So I stopped. And then only because I was bored, I remembered that I still had episodes left and I had time on my hands because we all got time on our hands. And I just watched it and then I was like, damn, I should have just never finished. Like, that was a waste of time. It was a waste of time and a waste. So, yeah, Young Justice, honestly, is something that needs to be kiboshed right now. this season should be the last because ultimately all that it's doing is the equivalent of what DC has going on with their animated universe in the movies and whatnot. So just the constant need to try and um, usher in like till next time type BS, and they don't need like they really don't need to do that. Well, if they knew how to write, they wouldn't do that. It's like, ooh, an over encroaching threat. Ever getting closer. Ever getting closer. Is it here? No, maybe. It doesn't need to do that. I wish they wouldn't do that. Just, your season is your season. Work with what you got. Quit trying to work with, ooh, this is all leading up to something big. Don't do that. Have something big happen and monumental, and then that could be the crust of something even bigger that happens later. But don't freaking push in my face that this isn't the main thing that we're building up to. It's gonna be this. It's gonna be this. But you gotta keep watching if you want to see it. And I'm not excited. I don't care. Whatever they got going on with Apocalypse and Darkseid, who gives a shit? Because it's not gonna be anything of importance. Realistically, the only character that can really go toe to toe with him would be Superman. They're probably gonna do something stupid with Superboy and doing something like that. So there's nothing. There's really nothing to look forward to with Young Justice now. It just fell at the wayside of being blah. It coming back and everyone wanting them to do something good and then them just kind of blowing it. They just really blew it with this third season. I just, if they do get another season, by all means, yeah, I'll watch it. I mean, why not? Yeah, I've stuck in it this far. But I'm not happy with season 3, and I urge no one to watch it. It wasn't enjoyable, wasn't necessary, and if anything, a lot of the highlights and the good stuff that did happen, or the things that I did think were either funny or important or I cared about, or something that I actually looked at and I thought that was fairly interesting, just immediately got pushed away just at the end of everything. Because it doesn't matter how many scenes are shown in anything to where it's like, hey, that's a pretty cool scene. If all of it is crap, then it's crap. If the majority of it is crap, then all of it is crap. A bad script is a bad script, no matter what bells and whistles you try to add on to it to try and make it nice. So that's just what you were left with. A really bad, shitty DC story that for some reason they tried to implement a bunch of brand new characters that no one knew about or cared about. And all it did was just bite him in the ass at the end of it because it was just a giant glob of mess that did nothing. Ugh. Yeah. That's it. That's all I was going to do. So this is my name's Fun with Flame. This has been no, my name's Daniel the Flame. This has been Fun with Flame. This has been my review over the season 3 of Young Justice, and don't watch that. I'm supposed to say I hope you had fun, but yeah, no, just don't go watch that. Just watch what else? What else does DC has? God, man, DC sucks. They just it's like Marvel's terrible, but DC's like right there behind it. It's right there. Every time you think they go up, they just pull themselves back down with something even dumber and stupider. I know that Justice League Dark Apocalypse movie is out, so I guess I'll watch that. Y'all stay safe out there. Also, be sure to check out the original home of the Fun with Flame podcast over at Anchor.fm. I upload there first and far more frequently than I do YouTube. And you should definitely go there to listen to some of my podcasts that are just too hot for YouTube to handle. So check out Anchor.fm for more Fun with Flame content. Be sure to subscribe and click any of the links in the description to see all of the other things that I am associated with, if you just want a little bit more of that Daniel the Flame in your life.